Yep. And now let's see if you can touch your toes right to your hands.
Look at all those Frankensteins. Frankensteins. There we go. Look at those.
We're almost there. Look, scarecrow. Can you stretch your arms out and lift up one foot like a scarecrow would? Ooh, try to balance. That was good. Let's try our other foot. Lift up one foot. There you go. Keep those arms really straight.
Good balance.
And try to balance on that one
Looks
leg.
like scarecrows to me.
Wow, look at that tree. It's really blowing the wind. Can you take a big deep breath in and blow like the wind? Let's take one more deep breath in and maybe we'll get even closer. We're so close to Monster's house now. There's bats everywhere. Let's see if we can turn ourselves into bats. So flap your wings. Yeah, flap them faster. Let's see if we can jump side to side, just like that. Yeah, your turn. Let me see you do it.
There you go. Good jumping. Look at these little bats.
Over there, there's a witch flying through the air. Let's zoom in closer. Hey, this witch looks really nice, doesn't she? All right, let's see if we can do what she's doing. Stretch your leg back, just like it's the broom. Hold on to it really tight. Oh, and now let's see if we can go up and down and fly through the air.
There we go.
Let's try the other leg. Put it back behind you, and let's go up and down. Ooh.
Good balance.
Awesome. I'm ready to go inside Monster's house, and I hear dancing too. So let's say some magic words like hocus pocus, and see if we can magically get inside that house and spin around and go. Let me see you do it. Whoa, but it's so dark in here. I think where the monster is. Let's turn the light on so we can find him. Oh, hey monster! What are you doing?
Get a little Charlie in there.
Let's see if we can run with the monster. What's that? Oh, hey, another one. Oh, another one. Oh, that strawberry looks good. Thank you. Thanks, monster, for having us at your party. This is fun. Oh, dance party time? All right, dance party time. All right, everybody, let's see our great dance moves.
Yeah.
Can you dance with me? Come on. Lift your arms up in the air. See if you can wave them back to side, just like this. Let's have a little dance party. Yeah, looking good. Nice. Good dance moves. Let me see you do it. Good. Ow! Let's do it again. Take another big deep breath in through your nose and have lots of moves. Ow, ow, ow! That was fun.
Right. I hope you guys enjoyed that little festive warm up. Okay. Now we got another festive day, but it's of course gonna be a little yoga. But I hope you guys enjoy the story and the yoga along with it. All right. Again, you guys are doing awesome. We miss you guys and hope you guys enjoyed this. All right.
It's easy. Just copy the moves I do and enjoy the adventure. Now, we always begin in the same way, and that's by sitting on our bottoms, crossing our legs, and bringing our hands together at our hearts, and saying our secret yoga code word, which is Namaste. Ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. There. Now we're ready to begin. So let's have a look through the cosmonoculars and find out who we're meeting today. Joining your thumbs and fingers together, have a look through. Ooh, look at the colours spinning around and the patterns. Oh, can you see that? What? Oh my goodness, it's Ruby Broom. What's Ruby doing? She's doing yoga. Ruby's doing crow pose.
Cool.
Wow, this is exciting. Today we have a special Halloween story. Ruby Broom is a little girl with a difference. She and her family are in fact witches and wizards. So Halloween is a rather special time for them. Now Ruby is 9 years old and she lives with her mum, her dad, her pet dog Pickles in a lovely house. Coming up to stand in house pose, taking your feet wide, your arms wide and bring them up above your head. Now Ruby's pet dog Pickles is a magic dog. Let's come into dog pose. Down onto your hands and your knees. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up to the sky and let's woof like a dog. Woof, 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 woof. Now lift up one of your legs and give it a wag like you're wagging your tail. When Pickles does this, lots of treats fall out of the sky. Woof, 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 woof. And lowering your leg back down and lift your other leg up and wag it the other way. When he wags it the other way, lots of balls fall from the sky. Woof, 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 woof. And lowering your leg all the way down and coming down to your knees. Now Ruby's mum loves whizzing around on her broomstick. Let's come into broomstick pose. Lying on our tummies, everyone. Taking your arms down by your sides. And after 3, let's lift up our legs, our arms and our chest. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoosh! Like a broomstick. Woohoo! Coming up to sit with your legs crossed. Now Ruby's mum is very good at keeping the house absolutely spotlessly clean and she never lifts a finger. All she does is mutter a spell. She twitches her nose and she does a big blow all over the house. And the whole place is spick and span. Now Ruby's dad, being a wizard, loves spinning around in his cape. Coming up to stand, everyone, taking your feet wide and your arms wide. Now begin to spin. He loves doing this, and when he closes his eyes and he spins, the lawn magically cuts itself. Cool! And bringing yourself to stop. Now Ruby has also been practicing her magic. Recently she's been turning everyday objects into animals, like the lamp for example, coming into lamp pose, bringing your feet together and turning your toes out. Now take your arms wide and bring your fingers up above your head to touch, like you've got a lampshade for a head. Yes, she managed to turn the lamp into a frog. Let's come into frog pose, bending your knees all the way down and using your fingers for balance. Let's do a 1, 2, 3 ribbit jump in the air. Ready? 1, 2, 3, ribbit! Wow, well done everyone. The only problem is the frog still had a lampshade for a head. Take your hands out to the side and bring your fingers up above your head. She still needed to practice. She'd also managed to turn her pencils into snakes. Let's come into snake pose. Coming to lie on your tummies, everyone, and take your hands underneath your shoulders. Now wiggle, wiggle, wiggle yourself all the way up into snake pose with a The only problem was the snakes still had pencil-lead heads, so they made a right mess, scribbling all over the walls. Sitting back on your heels. Now everyone was getting rather excited because it was coming up to Halloween. Everyone apart from Ruby, who was having a really hard time at school. All of her friends wanted to go trick-or-treating and dress up as really horrible warty witches. Coming up to stand, everyone, and let's do our warty witch pose. Oh, maybe standing on one toe, and making your mouth go all gummy, and your fingers all craggy, and maybe closing your eye and sticking out your tongue. Standing with her hands on her hips, Ruby didn't think this was at all fair. Not all witches are horrible like that. Some are rather beautiful, like my mum. She looks as graceful as a dancer when she rides on her broomstick. And she showed them with a dancer pose, reaching your arm all the way up and taking your hand to the side. Now seeing if you can balance on one leg. Whoop, try not to wobble, and hold your foot. Now kick, kick, kick your foot into your hand, lifting it up above your head. Yes, seeing if you can come into your dancer pose. Fantastic. And lowering yourself back down. Well done, everyone. Ruby's friends thought this was the funniest thing they'd heard all year, and they rolled around on their backs like happy babies. Coming to lie on your back, everyone, and bring your knees into your armpits and hold on to your feet. And now let's laugh like a happy baby. Oh, Ruby. Ruby thinks she's a real witch. Well, she's just as horrible and ugly as a real witch. Coming up to sit, everyone. Ruby was really rather upset by this. And later on that evening, she got onto her bed in her bedroom and she hugged her knees, feeling really sad. She cried to her mum, "I wish I wasn't a witch. It's not fair. Nobody likes witches." Now, Ruby's mum tried to explain that actually being a witch is pretty cool. And then she turned herself into a lovely, nuzzly black cat. Coming into your cat pose, everyone. Onto your hands and your knees. Now, arcing your spine, looking into your tummy. Yes. And then dipping your belly down and wiggle-waggling your tail to go meow. She sat back on her heels, opened her arms wide, and she gave her daughter Ruby the biggest cuddle ever, wrapping your arms around. "Oh, it'll be okay," and lowering your hands to your lap. Finally, it was Halloween night, and everyone was very excited. The Broom family had the best decorations in the whole neighbourhood. They even had a whole group of skeletons dancing a jig on the front lawn. Oh, what's happening? The skeletons are here. Come on, everyone. Let's be skeletons dancing a jig. Let's stand up and dance. Here we go. Wow! Whoa! That was crazy! Well done, everyone. There was also a giant spider sat on the lawn. Let's come into spider pose. Taking your legs nice and wide, bend your knees and bring your hands down in between your feet. Now ticka your fingers round the back and to the outsides of your feet, shuffling in your legs, making yourself into your spider pose. Now this spider was playing its leg like a cello. Sitting on your bottoms, everyone, and bring one of your feet in. Take hold of the other foot and stretch it up as straight as it'll go. Now use your other arm for a bow and play your spider cello. Now, the kids from Ruby's school thought that the Broom family decorations were incredibly real, especially as they approached the front door and it opened by itself. Let's come into door pose. Up onto two knees, everyone, and take your leg to the side. Reach your arm up high and let's creak like a haunted door. They'd come to collect Ruby to go trick-or-treating down the street. But Ruby was up in her bedroom reading a book. Sitting on your bottoms, joining the soles of your feet together and take your knees out to the side, flapping them like the pages of the book. She was also listening to music with her earbuds in her ears. A song all about the summer because she wanted to pretend it wasn't Halloween. Summertime, I love the summer, yeah. Sun and summer, ooh, 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 ooh. But Ruby's mum really thought that Ruby ought to go trick-or-treating with her friends. She was a real witch after all. So with a twitch of her nose, Ruby was standing like a mountain by the door. Coming up to stand, everyone, in your mountain pose. Nice and strong, arms down by your side. Ruby was even holding one of those mini cauldrons to collect her treats with. Now, before she left, Ruby's mum folded halfway forwards to whisper something into Ruby's ear. And then she stood up. We wonder what on earth she could have said. Everything was going amazingly, and they were collecting lots of treats in their little mini cauldrons. Coming into your cauldron pose, lying on your tummies, everyone, and bring your feet towards your bottom. Reach around to grab your ankles and breathe in to lift yourself up. Ready? Kicking your feet into your hands. Yes, well done, everyone. Now, then they got to Mr. Snell's house, number 5, and everything went downhill from there. Let's come into our house pose. Coming up to stand with your feet wide and your arms wide and your hands above your head. Now, Mr. Snell really didn't like children. He liked to poke them with his walking stick if they came too close. Turning your foot to the side and your arms out wide. Lean over your leg and tilt yourself down, going poke, poke, poke. Then coming back up to stand. Bring your toes forward and turn your other toes out to the other side. Lean out over your leg and tilt yourself down, going poke, poke, poke. Coming all the way up to stand, bringing your toes to the front. Now grab opposite elbows, because when they came a-calling, saying trick or treat, Mr. Snell opened the mini window in his door, lifting up your arms above your head and showing me your best Mr. Snell grumpy face. Ready? What do you want? Trick or treat? I'll take the trick. You kids don't deserve any treats. You don't scare me. You're just a bunch of silly kids. Lowering your arms all the way down, everyone. The friends didn't know what to do and looked from side to side at each other. Who was going to do the trick? But Ruby knew what to do, and she stepped forwards. She looked at Mr. Snell, and she remembered the words her mother had said to her earlier, an old Broom family spell. She muttered the words now. And she took a big deep breath in through her nose. And she blew Mr. Snell a kiss. Ruby's friends were amazed, because Mr. Snell wasn't Mr. Snell anymore. Slowly lowering yourself all the way down, everyone. Mr. Snell had turned into a tiny, little, brown, fluffy hamster. Coming into hamster pose. Onto your knees, everyone, and tuck yourself up into a little fluffy hamster ball. Squeak, 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 squeak. Sitting all the way up. Now Ruby went into a little squat position to talk to Mr. Snell the hamster, taking your feet wide and bending your knees deep and snuggling your arms in, bringing your hands to touch at your heart. Yes, yes, Mr. Snell, how do you feel about your trick? Are you happy being a hamster? Mr. Snell begged Ruby. He said, sorry, 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 please turn him back into a man. And Ruby took pity, so she said her spell again. She took a big deep breath in through her nose, and she blew Mr. Snell the hamster a kiss. Slowly rising, Mr. Snell grew back up from a hamster to being a man, and up on his tiptoes he scuttled into the kitchen to grab arms full of treats. Then he folded halfway forwards and he gave them out to all the children, saying, sorry, sorry, I'm sorry. Ruby stood up. Now Ruby's friends had a newfound respect for Ruby and for witches. Perhaps they won't be so quick to laugh at someone for being different to them. Ruby felt proud for being just as she was, one of a kind, a witch, Ruby Broom. And that was the best feeling in the world. Oh, after all that trick-or-treating, though, we have a little lie down. Let's have a lie down now, on our backs with our legs out long and our arms down by our sides. Wow, what a great fun story, trick-or-treating with a real-life witch. Now, Ruby was having a hard time because she was worried about what her friends thought about her. She wanted to be like them, to fit in and not be different, when actually her differences were what makes her special. Just like all of us, each and every one of us is different and wonderful for those differences. We should celebrate our differences. And we should be accepting of others when they're different to us. The world will be a much richer, more wonderful place for that. So breathe into exactly who you are. Love yourself for being one of a kind, for being unique, for being you. And love others for being different, for being them. Slowly we wiggle our fingers and our toes. We bring our knees into our chest. And we roll over onto our side, opening our eyes, pressing ourselves up to sit with our legs crossed and our hands together at our hearts. And we finish just the way we started, with our secret yoga code word, which is Namaste. Ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Well done, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween, and that was so much fun trick-or-treating with you. I'll see you again soon for another Cosmic Kids adventure.
Hey guys, I hope you guys had fun doing that and enjoyed the story and yoga. You know, we didn't get to do our typical spooky obstacle course, but hopefully this was fun, and we could do our obstacle course again next year. All right, but you guys have a great one and be safe. Okay, all right, miss you. See you soon.